What's good, everybody? What's good? I appreciate you for tuning in. As we all have seen the plea deal that was taken yesterday by defendant Quay in the YSL trial. And I wanted to do a video yesterday, but I wanted to sleep on it to get my thoughts, you know what I mean? Get all my thoughts together. But after sleeping on it, man, because yesterday my main thought was, why would one of the defendants, out of all the defendants left, take a plea deal? Ain't that hurting the rest of them? But after I slept on it, I realized that was the best decision that they could have made. And it also set up another play for the defendant, for the defense team to make for the rest of the YSL boys. I'll explain to you why later. But first, before I go any further, I want to shout out the defendant's Quay's attorney, Bruce Harvey, because he did something real loyal when he could have been a douchebag. He could have been selfish. You know what I mean? He could have got his client a good deal and said, F the rest of them boys, F everybody else who left, you know, in the trial. I did my job. I earned my money. But he didn't do that. He made sure that with his client taking the deal that he took, which was a great deal, he made sure that with his client taking the deal that he took, that it didn't also put the rest of the defendants and their counsel in a bad position. Because we all see that the two little charges that he agreed to, as far as in his plea deal, we all see those charges are very small compared to the charges that he was faced with. If you equate his charges that he was facing, consider that a full course meal. And the charges that he agreed to on the plea deal was like sides, beans and rice. That's all he agreed to, was the beans and rice. The meat and potatoes gone. The meat and potatoes off the table. The meat and potatoes was that murder charge he was facing and that gun possession charge by a convicted felon. We all know those two charges right there. Shit, one by themselves can send you down the road for a long time. So the fact that he only agreed to the sides, the beans and rice, which was basically drug charges, the racketeering charges, but you know, basically two drug charges, he won. And now I see why he was the only one who took that plea deal, because the position he was in, facing that, you know what I mean, facing that murder charge and that gun charge by a convicted felon, he couldn't really take no chances. You know what I mean? To be able to get 7 years with time credit, that's a win when you facing a murder charge and a gun charge by a convicted felon. That's a win. That is a win. And you know, you could tell they all sat down at the table. It's not just one attorney with his client making a decision. All the attorneys and their defendants sitting at that table making a decision. You know what I mean? And it's evident by the way that things are panning out. And when it comes to that crooked old DA side, as we all know, we see they still up to their same tricks. We still up to their same tricks. We all seen that stunt DA Hilton tried to pull off yesterday. And we all know who put her up to it. Her leader, Fannie Willis. We all know who put her up to that. But Bruce Harvey caught it. The judge caught it too, but I can't really take her at face value no more, because we all know her back up against the wall. It's things that she got to do now. She got to walk a straight line now. She got to be unbiased now. She can't help them out no more. So her catching it, I can't really put no weight on that. And I'm gonna explain that later in this video. But the fact that Miss Hilton came in that courtroom yesterday and tried what she tried, I'm gonna tell you what I equivalent that to. I equivalent that to, you know, we all don't been in a relationship with a no good person, whether it's, you know, male, female, you know, whether you man or woman, whoever listen to this. So just think back when you in a relationship with a no good individual. Now, you know, y'all have plenty of conversations, you know what I mean? But you notice this one particular conversation y'all having, they give you information or volunteer information, and it's irrelevant to the conversation that y'all having. But to save your life at the moment, you can't understand why they giving that information. That's what I equivalent Miss Hilton giving all that extra information during the plea hearing yesterday that had nothing to do with the plea deal that Quay was taking. It had absolutely nothing to do with the plea deal that Quay was taking yesterday. But I'm gonna tell you why she did it. I'm gonna tell you why she did it, and it's something else that Fannie Willis put them up to. But the reason why she did it, because she knew what they know, that plea deal, that the things that he was gonna admit to held no weight, basically, and he basically getting off, and it holds no weight in regard to the other defendants who's left on the trial. So their whole purpose was to throw all that jibber jabber that DA Hilton went up there and said yesterday, leading to him agreeing to that plea. All that jibber jabber she said was their purpose, their whole intent of doing that was to be able to use Quay's plea agreement against the rest of them boys who's left on the case. But you see you see Bruce Harvey caught that. And he was very specific. I can't remember his words, but he said, we do not agree to that. And that was a good move, because like I say, he could have said, F this case. My guy getting off, I did my job, it's a win for me. But he didn't do that. He not only fought for his client, but he fought for the rest of them defendants left in that case. And I can tell by Miss Hilton's body language yesterday leading up until her little speech that she gave. I can tell, but I couldn't understand why. But now I see why. She thought she was going to get off with that, because her body language was saying that they got to win. But we all see they didn't get a win yesterday. Not only did Quay win, but them other defendants set up good. Them other defendants is set up straight now. because now that RICO case that they keep trying to prove is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I'm gonna tell you the most important thing that plea deal did yesterday for the rest of the defendants, because it left the back door open for them to come in with an angle. And what that angle is, we all see what led us to this point. D.A. Hilton making that bonehead mistake that she made by basically forcing that witness on the stand to say free Quay. Okay. Who took the plea deal yesterday? Quay. You know what I'm saying? What was the whole purpose? What was their main argument for the mistrial yesterday? I mean, not yesterday, but a couple days ago. That the mistake that Hilton made damaged his reputation to the jury. Who was the first person to take a plea deal? Quay, whose reputation was damaged. So that's another reason why I say I can't take Paige on face value no more, because her back up against the wall, and she still gotta, even though Quay took that plea, she still gotta rule on that mistrial. Because what Quay's plea deal did was, and I'm sure the defense is gonna use this angle. What Quay's plea deal did was get the defense an angle to say Quay had no choice but to take a plea deal after the damage to his reputation that D.A. Hilton did. So the mistrial is still set up. It's still in good hands. That mistrial still ain't off the table, and Miss Paige still got a rule on that, and she know that. She know that. So not only is, I feel like that's a strong angle that the rest of the defense counsel is gonna use, that's still a ruling that Miss Paige has to rule on. Because like I say, if not, she gonna be held responsible for the way that this case is going, for the way that this case is panning out. Think about it. Think about it. And like I say, the charges that Quay plead to, it's not RICO, it's not murder, it's not a gun charge, it's no violent charges. I'm sure, although he basically admitted to drug charges, and I'm sure every last one of those defendants left in this trial would gladly plea down to drug charges. Think about it. Think about it. I'm sure all those defendants left would gladly plea down to drug charges. See what I'm saying? And just going back to the stunt D.A. Hilton tried to make yesterday that didn't work, her trying to throw all that information into his plea in regards to murders and guns and all that, which didn't work. And she knew he wasn't going to be held accountable for that. But like I said, that was the play to where she can throw that back off on them other defendants who left still fighting. And to save my life, after that last mistake that Hilton made, which got this whole case in the position that it's in, after the last mistake that she made, ask yourself, why in the hell did they put her back on that podium to carry out these plea deals in which she made another mistake, adding on, things that ain't had nothing to do with his plea, which was a mistake, but they caught it. It wasn't too big, it wasn't really serious, but they caught it, which was another mistake though. Why would they put her back up there after the bonehead thing that she just did, was basically put this case in limbo and got Miss Love sitting right there, not doing nothing, not saying nothing. Basically the sidebar. That's because Miss Love has basically blew this case for the prosecutors. She's basically blew this case with all her mad, angry black woman antics that she's been pulling throughout this whole case. It's backfired on her. Not only is the defense side done with her and over her, we now see the judge is done with her and over her. And you can imagine how the jury feel about her, but we'll never know that until the case is over, when the jurors get to get their interviews and things like that. We'll never know that. But I guarantee you, the jury is over her too. So with that being said, this prosecution team is basically on their last legs. This prosecution team is basically on their last leg. And we not seeing with the plea deal that they handed out, which was basically nothing to Quay versus what he was originally charged with. We now see, based off of their actions that they tried to pull yesterday, as far as getting him to agree to things that had nothing to do with the actual plea deal that he actually agreed to on paper. We now see that DA side is basically just trying to save face. They're basically just trying to save face, because you got to know, even if they agree to lesser plea charges, which is a win for them boys, even if they agree to way less plea charges like Quay did, even if the rest of them agree to way less plea charges, we all know they still gonna be running around saying, as far as the DA side, we all know they still gonna be running around saying, we got a conviction. We all know that. But we all know that that'll be a lie. We all know they only gonna be running around saying that just to save their face, just to make it look good on paper, and to the fools that don't know what's really going on. But we all know the charges has slowly dwindled down to the point to where a guy facing murder charge and a gun charge by a convicted felon plead out to basically two drug charges, racketeering. See what I'm saying? So their whole purpose now is to save their face. You know what I mean? Their whole purpose now is to act like they ain't walking around with on their face. You know what I mean? That's their whole purpose now. But you know, we all see what it is. We all see what it is. We all see what it is. So going forward, my opinion is that the rest of them defendants and their attorneys, all they got to do is be patient. Don't make no rush decisions. Don't agree to no dumb plea deals, because as we all see, they losing. The defense, the DA side is losing. We all see that. So don't rush into nothing. Don't make no rush decisions. Wait on this mistrial that I feel like the judge has to make a ruling on, and it has to go in their favor. It just has to, because like I say, and Quay's plea deal set this up. But like I say, they got a good angle to come up with now, which is Quay had no choice but to plea out now after the way the DA tainted his name in front of the jury. He had no choice but to plea out. And you see, he was out of the rest of the defendants left. You see, he was the first one to plea out. See what I'm saying? So basically, on paper, that's the truth, though. He really didn't have no choice but to plea out after they tainted his name like that, which magnifies that mistake D.A. Hilton made even more. See what I'm saying? So that's a win for not only Quay, but that's a win for the rest of the defendants and their attorneys that's left fighting. That's a win. They got a strong mistrial motion. They got a strong mistrial motion. And the only win that the DA side got from Quay pleading out, the only win that they got in that situation is the defendant's name that they tainted. They went on ahead and got him off the case. They went on ahead and, settled with him. Even though he got way less charges, but he done with. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? He off the trial. You see what I mean? That's the only win that they got, which is basically very small. But that's the only win that they got coming out of this from yesterday. That's the only win that they got. The rest of it, like I say, if it was a full course meal, the meat and potatoes is off the table. They was only left with two sides. The two drug charges that he pleaded to, the beans and rice. The main meal off the table. You know what I mean? So, Freedom YSL boys, you know what I mean? I ain't got too much to talk your head off about, because like I say, the hearing was only for, yesterday was only for the plea deal, but the YSL boys sitting pretty. The YSL boys sitting pretty. And I know if I'm talking about that angle that they got in their back pocket for that motion, for that mistrial motion, I can imagine what them crazy lawyers got that them boys got back there. They finna eat them up. They finna eat them up, because like I said, they showed their hand by trying to add on all that jibber jabber into Quay's plea. They showed their hand. They basically told you that we know we getting off, and we know if you pleaded this, we can't use your plea agreement against them. So let's try to throw this stuff in so we can use it against the rest of the defendants that's left. But it didn't work. Bruce Harvey called him. Bruce Harvey caught it. And Bruce Harvey made sure it was very specific with his client plead to. Bruce Harvey caught it. And like I said, the judge caught it too, but her back up against the wall. She ain't got no choice right now but to do the right thing, because she still got this mistrial motion decision looming over her head. And she got to make the right decision on it. She got to. Because right now, all the eyes is on her. Right now, all the eyes is on her. So that's all I got to say. I ain't got too much to say. I'm going, catch up and see if they're going to come back into the court again today and, resume this, or, see what they're going to do about the mistrial. But I'll be back to get my 2 cents on, whatever else they give us. Appreciate y'all watching me, tuning in, commenting. I appreciate all that. Deuces. Talk to y'all soon.